month, it simply won't be here anymore. The lease will have gone. We will have gone. Well, it's just the end of it.
Are you crying or have you got a cold?
I have got a cold, actually, but I feel a bit like howling. Now I've got a horrible cold. I hope you don't catch it. But it's crazy, isn't it? If we had known, we could have bought that lease and we could have kept our house.
That's right.
Well, it's all come so suddenly, isn't it? It'll take us a while to sort of adjust and find something else to do, won't it?
Yes. I was thinking about this morning. I've known you people, at least the ones I've known longest, Cherry and Sylvia and Mary and Vivian, and you two nearly as long. I've known you longer than I've known anybody in my life, except for my mother and father and my brothers, you know.
Would you say, I'm sorry.
No, I was just going to say it's a long time, isn't it?
It certainly is. Would you say, on reflection, that we have been good for you?
Yes, in the long way.
Good to you. Good to you.
Good to me. Been damn rude at times, some of you
know,
have.
I think we won't realise how much we miss each other. First of all, we've got so used to knowing what's going on. I mean, we knew you when you were pregnant with two of your children, Pauline.
Yes, I know.
Waiting for the baby to be born and they're growing up, and all through your problems, Mary, and Deborah and Sarah knowing each other at 16.
Yes,
They
indeed.
came here for tea at 16 and now they're 28.
Our phone bills will go up, won't they? Because whenever we want to know something, like if I want to ask you something, Mary or Anne, I just have to phone you up and ask you.
Do you think we will, though? That's the pity, that one never really does keep in touch. Your intentions are good, but I wonder if in a year's time we will still be in touch with each other.
I think it's one of the things that I'll miss most, actually, is all the advice and all the bossing around that I've had by the various people whom I respect, you know.
Just a minute, I thought you were the one that did all the bossing about.
By no means at all.
She just makes a lot of noise, don't you,
I
Mary?
would not know what colour lipstick to use or how to do my hair, whatever, without asking Cherry or Sylvia.
But also passing on advice. I mean, people very often will ask me something and I say, don't worry, I know who to ask. You see, and I might ask you something or ask Lucy or...
Do you think we'll all go to pieces then? When I shall...
No.
No reason to get up in the morning.
Exactly, stay in bed. Who's that film star who went to bed in 1956? Right, I shall do that.
I must say, when I first came down here for tea, I'd moved in a very small world of models and highly sort of, not sophisticated, but phony in a way. And this is the first time I knew about learning about sewing and cooking and all these bits and pieces. I mean, to any extent, as part of my daily life.
I must say, I've had a lot of fun. I've had a lot of fun and amusement. I've also had a lot of aggravation at times. You've really irritated me, some of you, but that's been part of the experience.
But you've mellowed, Mary.
I must go and get my corkboard, actually.
What are you going to get?
Move your tea because... where did you stop me, Cherry? It's
I'm
getting maudlin now.
What are you going
Leave it alone. You see, I'll be so pleased when you've gone. You'll stop touching my things.
Finish that cake. It's the last bit you'll get.
Look, this is my jumpsuit. See, I shall go on sewing regardless of where I do it. That's
You've got to earn a living.
my jumpsuit. But you see, although I've
that's nice. I love the colour. I love that.
quilted the yoke, but it's going to be a bit... Then you told me to make a shawl.
Not a shawl, a sweep. A big sweep.
You told me you had rung somebody up and said you wanted a big creep.
Yes, I thought it was a big creep. A big creep for Anne. A big sweep it is.
So I got this wool, printed wool, which is absolutely gorgeous, to go with it, to wear over the top to keep me warm. Is that all right?
Oh, it's lovely. And it's
your
most beautiful colour. Lovely, Anne.
Super. And then to cheer it up, I did some stitching round the edge there, and then a row of gold stitching on the inside.
Very nice.
That's lovely. That's in everything, isn't it? Those gold threads.
Yes. Let me just finish it round the edge, and then I'll put it on. I'm doing it from the wrong side. I've got the gold thread on the underneath, wound onto the spool.
Will that go on any machine? I mean,
yes.
it fits on anything.
Yes, you can put a thick thread always onto your spool. Some thick thread you can also put. There it is on the underneath.
I didn't know
you
that.
Can put on
the
top.
thickest thread goes underneath.
Well, then
generally.
You can see the reason. That if you tried to put, say, that thick thread, that silver thread, if you tried to put that through the top, you'd have problems with threading it up.
Yes, of course.
That's the only reason. But if you do have difficulty, the other way you can do it is to lay your shiny thread onto the right side and then just zigzag over it with a tiny stitch.
Yes,
Do you
I
see?
see.
So there is another way of doing it.
Yes,
If you want
yes.
to
Is
use
that
ordinary
gold
thread.
thread as thick as the silver?
It's a different type.
Oh, but
different
it's
type.
just as thick.
But the other thing you must do, well, I think it's sensible, do stitching first and then fray off the edges afterwards.
see,
Then it
yes.
won't go too far. It'll only go
course,
to the
of
way you've
course.
stitched.
You simply got to fray it. I don't like to see these shawls just hemmed or... But how do you think,
just
how do
run
you think I've done this then?
Oh,
Right, yes, right, is it?
Did you do exactly what I
Yes.
told you?
Yes, absolutely everything.
You sure? It's the last time you'll have to, isn't it?
Come on, we've got another
Right.
month.
Yes, I know. Now then, I'll show you what I've done, which is... It's
It's
not...
got to be huge like that.
Yes.
That's number one, of
Well,
course.
this is a wide fabric and I just got almost a square. Wear it with the gold on the outside, and then I had a most brilliant idea. I've made a toggle, look,
That is actually very good.
and I've done the gold
That's
stitching
excellent.
on there. And I just stiffened it with a piece of that. I ironed that on so that it then finishes up that width, so it's terribly
Yes.
quick to do. And I'm going to fasten my toggle. Because you see, I wore a shawl the other
But I
day.
hope you're not going to wear it like that. I love the idea of the toggle, but that is the really old-fashioned way of wearing it.
Well, come on then.
I told you that the other day.
Yes, but you said...
You see, this idea...
There, look.
Yes,
look.
that I think is lovely. And you see, this is how we've always been wearing them, either like that, and you have a whole lot of us going, ladies crouch, you know.
It's so difficult to
hugging.
wear like that, aren't they?
Yes, and they
Dropping
look stodgy now. So what you do,
Don't look stodgy. It's the last thing in the
look,
world.
when you fold, I told you this the other day.
I know, but it fell off.
Oh, did it? Well, that's the whole thing about being beautiful. You've got to concentrate on it all the time. And you fold it properly as well. You have it like that, over here
Best
like
to put a
this.
brooch in it, Cherry.
Well,
So
you
that
can do. You can, obviously. I mean, the thing is, it's a rather silly fashion, I think, this throwing it over the shoulder. That is how...
Shoulder's cold.
That is how it's... That is how you have to wear it if you want to look up to date with your style.
It's like these
that.
Scots
Yes, it is.
swatches
And
that
if
they
it's
wear.
long
Yeah.
enough,
Yes.
if it's long enough, you can bring it over on that arm here.
Yes.
But still have that like that, and you can
Yes.
hold on to it like that. Or alternatively, do you mind?
No, go on.
Or alternatively, do it round this way. Do it round this and make it a big cover
That's
up.
much warmer.
Yes, and make it a big cover up and wear them over your coats.
When I
or
was in
suits
Greece,
or
the
anything.
girls on the beaches wore absolutely nothing except a bikini bottom and one of these shawls covering the
Covering
front,
right over.
hanging-
Can I see where my toggle?
It's a lovely book, Mary.
But who's cuts?
Sue Cuts. Well, there's a history about the book, actually. It was that the firm asked me if I would write a book on casserole cookery, which I did. And normally the procedure is that you don't get your final payment after you've written a book until the book is published. So 6 months went by, and then about 8 months, and I began to get rather anxious about my final pence. You see. So I telephoned them, and they said, well, now we have a slight change of plan. What we're going to do is to incorporate into your casserole book some work on pressure cookers and also the slow cookers.
That's a lovely idea, putting them all in together.
So they said, now the book is going to be slightly bigger and just a little bit more expensive, you see.
also,
And so Sue Cuts did the work on that. But actually, I would say that 2/3 or more of the book is on casseroles and is by me.
I was surprised to find puddings.
Well, when we planned the book, I said, I think it's an awful pity that the casserole should have the image of a little bit of stewed steak or stewing meat
yes,
of some
exactly.
kind and
That's-
some
you're so
vegetables.
right.
I think we must do fish and vegetables and puddings as well, and they thought that was a good idea. And also in the back of it, if you have a look,
Yes, these lovely toppings.
toppings for casseroles, just to make them look a little bit more exciting and also to taste a little bit better, you know. But I'm making something from it today,
Really is
actually, for my
beautiful.
supper. It's called pork rashers with plums. Now, ideally, when plums are in season, and of course they're not now that it's December,
No,
the one would use fresh plums, the dark ones, the dark blue ones, wash them, halve them, and
the Victoria
and put
plums.
those in the bottom. Yeah,
Very
there are
dark
Victorias. No, they're not. No, the Victorias are a sort of pale golden pinky.
I always
colour.
thought they were the red, dark red
No,
ones.
no. I think I'm right in saying that. However, instead of using the fresh plums, obviously I've used tin plums, but I have drained them well. It does mean that they are sweetened with a light syrup, so I won't use so much sugar, you see. But normally you would sprinkle the plums with brown sugar. Now I'm only going to put a little because we need it for the colour now rather more than the flavour. If
It's an
it were fresh
unusual
plums, little more.
to put with pork. Plums?
Yes,
I suppose you
yes.
I
Well, you
automatically
have
think
to-
of apples, you know,
I know.
dull and boring.
So, well, what you need something fruity and sharp to lift the fat, you see, from the pork. Now, pork rashers, which are delicious and reasonable. There are only 2 because it's just for me, you see. 1 onion, fairly finely chopped, with a clove of garlic, and I've cooked that off now until it's golden. And then all you do, very, very simple dish this, to put the onions and the garlic over the top of the plums, like so.
It's a lovely little pot, Mary.
Yes, isn't it a pretty
Isn't it
one?
pretty?
Yes, I'm an absolute sucker for pretty pots. Where I go anywhere, it's the first thing I look for. And this is my own dried sage.
Which is much better, isn't
Oh,
it?
much. When you buy it, it's always a bit sort of what I call chaffy.
It is.
You know, not
Bit
that I've got anything
cardboardy.
against chaff, but I don't particularly want it in my casserole. And then the 2 pork rashers, which I have just cooked until they're lightly coloured on either side.
Because really, it's
That's all.
not cooking when you put them in your pot, will it? For any sort of...
Doesn't need any
length of time.
really, no. And then a very little chicken stock, or other meat stock if you've got it, and a little dry cider, or white wine if you like.
That sounds
Right,
absolutely
well,
delicious.
It's rather good, and very, very simple and easy to do. And now that will go into a moderate oven, about 350, for about, half an hour, barely, really, just to heat it through. And then at the end of the half hour, take the lid off, and then that juice will have reduced, and thickened slightly because of the sugar content. And you then baste the top of the rashers, and it'll glaze nicely with the lid off, you see, for say another 10-15 minutes.
That's
But it's a
super,
nice way
isn't
to
it?
do just a couple of cheap pork rashers, you see.
Well, it's different, isn't it? I mean, everybody sort of either grills them or shoves them.
Yes, I've got it all there.
You haven't figured it out with your corks
Oh, I
too
thought
much.
you'd probably be wondering what on earth I was going to do with them.
I did rather wonder.
Oh, can I find the table?
You've been drinking yourself into an early
Oh,
grave.
it's been lovely. I've enjoyed every
Oh, you've
minute
been
of it.
scrabbling around the floors of the wine bar.
That's right. I've been begging corks
Have you?
from everywhere. Yes. You have a look. The finished, well, not finished, but the partly done
Yes,
one.
but what is it?
Don't you know? It's going
Well, I
to be a
can
pin
guess.
board. You see, for
What,
putting
it's
all
a
your
picture
notices.
frame.
No. For putting all your notices on.
I
You know,
see.
pictures, because the children bring things home from school. You know, they bring letters about this and letters about that, and I put them away in a drawer somewhere, and I
Oh, it's
forget, and I've
dreadful,
lost
yeah.
them, and they've all got dates on, and so I thought, oh, I make one of these for the kitchen so that I can pin them on, and they're sort of there in front of me.
Stop that frantic scrabbling about through
That's
handbags and things.
But I have to confess, actually, it's not my own idea, because I was out with a friend for the day, and we had lunch in a lovely little country pub, and as we were coming
Is
out...
it a man?
I'm not
telling,
telling you. No, if you hadn't asked, I might have said. For your cheek, I'm not telling. And as we came out in the sort of entrance, there were lots of notices about jazz clubs and darts and everything. And these notices were all on a board, and it was all made up of these corks that were stuck onto a piece of board. And I thought, oh, what a super idea.
It is a nice idea, actually.
I like
But
the ones with
they're-
the letters on. They look really...
Well, I thought, you know, of putting plain ones on, and I thought, well, I could buy some because I wanted to get on with it. But I thought, no, the plain ones don't look as nice. The used ones look
Looks-
nice.
it
mark
looks
them.
rustic,
You could
doesn't it?
write how bad your hangover was on each bottle. You could.
Whether it was a good night or a
Yeah.
bad night, yes. Actually, I used just a craft knife, with a noise, and I just slipped them through. And I tried to slip them so that the writing sort of stays not readable exactly, but so that it looks nice when you
Well, it
when you
depends
sort
whether
of
it's
put them
good
on.
wine or not, doesn't it? It's whether you want people to know what's...
Well, I've been round begging everyone. Oh, there's some cut already.
So
there.
just as I'm about to move into my new house, we're not going to meet and I won't have any bright ideas from you.
I'll send you a circular.
Oh, really?
Every time I think of something, I'll send you a circular. As long as you send me a photograph back of the
I
finished
will.
thing.
I will.
Actually, every time I open my junk cupboard, I'll have all your braids and strings.
You do know, when you come to visit me, you know there's a special notice board on which I pin letters of thanks from visitors.
Oh, no.
You know that? Yes.
Well, I've been begging corks actually from everywhere.
Good one.
And
I
one
don't like
place,
those
no,
round
well, one
ones.
place I asked, the chap said, "What on earth do you want them for?" You know, as I tried to explain. So he said, "Oh, what are you going to do? Cut them, the corks through, you see?" And I said, Well, now I hadn't thought of doing them like that. I was going to cut them through lengthways. So, as he suggested it, I thought, oh, well, maybe that might look better, but I don't think it does at all. I think they
like
look
a
much...
little life raft or something, doesn't it? All full of buoyancy with those corks all over it.
Yeah.
I'm tempted to start singing bobbing up and down.
Another place where in a hotel nearby that I asked to keep me some corks, the chap said, oh yes, we'll have plenty. We've got a party this weekend. There'll be lots of corks. So I went in on the Monday morning to ask for the corks, and it was a different man there, and he said, oh, I wonder what on earth they were there for. He said, I put them on the fire this morning.
Isn't that awful?
I could have
when people do
wept.
that, yeah.
Oh, you know, Mary,
Good, yes.
I was thinking...
Are you still eating, my
Well, I
dear?
have to feed us cold. I've got a bad cold. I was just thinking, I hope I'm not going to lose my independence now I'm not coming down here anymore and find myself having to get married or something. I'm not because I'm
Cherry.
pregnant.
I'm sure you wouldn't do that, though, would you?
Well, I don't know. I mean, I've always insisted over all the years you've known me, I'm not getting married again. I have an independent life. I come and go as I like. I have all my friends, etc., etc. You know, after all, what does make a woman of my age get married again? Probably because she's lonely, apart from loving the man.
The majority of them that I know that have married again, women, in our age group, in fact, have married simply because they were completely incapable of living alone. And it's extraordinary how common that is. An awful lot of people cannot and will not live alone.
I wouldn't want to live on my own. If it happened to me, I wouldn't want to live on my own. And I think in your case, and Cherry's and Anne's probably one of the reasons you haven't got married is because you have had your own careers and you've had your own things to do and you've gained your own independence. You haven't really felt, I mean, there must have been times when you felt this terrible loneliness, but on the whole, you've overcome it and built up your own life.
But
It's an awful sad thing, though, to think that being married prevents you, surely, from having your own life. That would be terrible, because you'd be nothing to give to each other.
But you do have your own life, but only to a certain extent if you're married, aren't you?
It
because
is
you're
restricted.
responsible for. You've got a husband, and
I took a leaf out of my aunt's book 10 years ago. She said that she had got so selfish living alone so long because she's a widow, and yet she has a boyfriend who's lovely. And she said, much as I adore him, I can put him out at night with the cat. And that place lovely, you see.
I don't think just because you get married you're not going to be lonely. I mean, that's a ridiculous
Yes, how right you are.
question.
You
I
can be
mean,
terribly
yes,
lonely.
I in fact know of sort of friends that have been married for 20, 25 years and are desperately lonely.
Yes.
They live in each part of the house separately.
You see a woman-
sorry, I was
No.
going to say that let us look at the situation totally honestly and say that years ago, certainly this does not apply now, but years ago when we were younger, one married because really and truly, in order to, if you were a reasonable person, to have sex and to be looked after, to have money and things like that, unless you had your own
And
career.
children.
That's right, and children. You got married. That was the thing to do. But that no longer
It doesn't apply.
applies. It really doesn't. As somebody once said to me, my dear Mary, why ever should you settle for table d'hote when any day you can dine a la carte?
How true. I think also it does make a difference if you've been married before and if you had a long period of being married. In my particular case, having married so young, I very, very much wanted what I missed in the beginning. That is a flat of my own, freedom, all the kinds of things that girls nowadays often have from the age of 18 up to 25 or 26. But you have a child at 20 or 19, you don't have that.
When you got that, was it what you wanted? When you eventually got it after you'd been married?
Because things are never like that. You don't open one door and step into another. You're involved with all the other things of your life. So
I don't think it's possible to sit around a table as we're doing now and say that I would never get married again. I don't think that you could ever
I might
possibly
have
say
to now.
that.
You might have to, if I'm still
It's
wanted.
totally interesting that some years ago it was men that were hanging on to their bachelorhoods like mad, weren't they? They couldn't bear the thought of being married, and yet now it seems to be women.
Yes.
Well, they like somebody to cook
But
their
listen,
meals and wash their
both
shirts.
you and Nim got married again. None of we three
But then I think that was
Yeah.
possibly
Did.
because we didn't have careers like you three had, because you had something to put your energy in and a different direction to go in.
Does the fact that, as Lucy's just said, so many women now are hanging on to their freedom and so on, does this not surely indicate that there must be something wrong within marriage?
No, I think
As
that
we
women
accept
get
it.
married later. I think the number of women who reach the age of about 35 not married are pretty well desperate to get married, if I can generalise in that way. Amongst a lot of people I I know.
Well,
They
like,
don't
what
want to
happens?
miss
I
out.
honestly tell you that my daughter isn't married and she's
No,
not
but
desperate
she's
by any
28.
means to
She's
be married.
28. I'm talking about 35, when a woman's coming up to the age when her last chance to have children.
Deborah keeps turning them down. This is
Yes. Well,
I'm
I
lovely
mean,
for her.
Get her to send them round to me. It's never occurred to me to get married again because
Would you have
nobody's
another go,
asked me.
Anne? Would you have another go?
No, I don't think so. Not unless I had absolutely... I'm too busy. I've got too much to do to contemplate
Well,
it.
your life is full enough
Yes,
without it.
it
isn't
is.
Yes.
I think what happens though, if you do marry somebody and live with them, however much you love them, there's an awful lot of kind of compromising that you have to do. And maybe if you've had a long time without having to consider other people's feelings the
get
whole time, you
selfish.
get kind of used to it.
It's
Yes,
so true.
I
You
think that's
become
true.
selfish, Lucy. You're so right. And also, it may not be that you're just concerned about yourself. Say, in my particular case, all that void has been taken up with my family,
That's
my
right.
granddaughter,
And mine, yes.
my children. I am free to give them everything that I
Yes.
want to give. I think
Yes.
it's
I
the way
don't
of
think
time.
it's a very good attraction.